back to another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. My name's Car with my BFF Keyan and my other BFF G. What's up, dude?
What up?
Keyan, guess where we're at?
Yeah.
We're in
you guys are.
We're in a remote
Well,
location.
I guess I don't get to guess.
We're in a remote location somewhere in Langley.
Wow. Okay. What are you guys interviewing for? You guys going to be like?
Just kidding.
You guys going to be assassins? What's gonna?
No, we're at TabConf. It's just this year's TabConf is in Georgia Institute of Technology, and they have upstairs. It's in the exhibition hall, but they have an upstairs where it's like all these breakout rooms. So we're just like in one of the breakout rooms setting up for Stacker News Live. I don't know, G, what did you think so far at TabConf?
Oh man, it's cool to be on a major D1 campus and seeing the student lives, walking around, all the Bitcoiners here from all over the world. It's good to catch up with everyone and see how the builders are doing out there.
Yeah.
Is it a better venue than the AT&T Center or wherever they were before?
Yeah, I think I prefer the AT&T Center, but it's just probably crazy expensive. It definitely better vibes over here, but I think it's going to take some getting used to. This one feels a lot smaller scale wise, but it's still great. It's just yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's good that they got on one of the major campuses out here in Georgia. Just makes Bitcoin look that much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I guess you would have to see it to experience it, I guess. But it's been a good couple of days in Atlanta. A lot. We're in Midtown, so like everything's really close by, and there's a lot of cool little places to check out. So definitely it's definitely a lot funner once you get outside of campus, because everything's close by. And then the other place, it was like better inside the conference. Then when you get outside, it's like there's nothing in here. Like it was dead at the other one, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds like it got flipped inside out a little bit.
There you go.
But
how's everything in Austin?
Everything's good. The lab is super empty. Everyone's there with you. So it's just me, Oliver, and Jim.
Oh, wow.
And we're holding it down. We've been partying a little bit,
Yeah.
throwing them back. Yeah.
What's
but crazy.
Yeah, so when are you leaving? Are you leaving, you said this weekend, or?
Yes, I am going on Max Webster is having a retreat for his portfolio companies, and so I am attending. Yeah.
In an undisclosed location?
Well, I mean, I don't really know what's been shared or not. There will be other people there. I don't want to like.
It's not like in the desert, right?
Anyone.
Like it's not like in the desert or anything like that.
Yeah, we're going to Burning Man, Car. It's gonna be.
Well, I could see Max doing like a Burning Man retreat. He's base enough to be.
Yeah, we're gonna burn an effigy of Sailor now that he's.
That would be great.
Died as a Bitcoiner.
That should be fun, dude. Yeah, I think I only saw Vikesh here from Stonemark. He was the only one that I saw at a VC that came. I didn't see anybody else.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Well, none of them have money. They have to be. They're at other types of parties trying to get the money, and then they'll come and talk. They'll come talk.
Lugano?
Yeah, they're at Lugano. They're like in Boston. They're like in San Francisco, where the money comes from.
Yeah, we're over here with the builders. We went to ATL PlebLab last night, and dude, that's a badass hackerspace. What did you think?
Super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's cool about it? They have like lasers, or
they have washer and dryers. They have like a whole.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's like a whole full-on facility.
Got a shower.
They had a shower. It's like basically what you need for like if you're passing through Atlanta and you need a pit stop as a Bitcoiner. ATL PlebLab for sure.
How many people can fit in the shower?
Probably 2, maybe. I don't know.
It's about 2, maybe 3. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I just thought I'm surprised you guys answered that like I was asking a serious question.
Dude, they were there pretty late last night. I left early. I was like, I got to get up here early for the hackathon, but everybody stayed pretty late. I heard it was a pretty epic night. But yeah.
I believe it. Those guys know how to get down out there.
Yeah. How was your week though? Was it pretty good?
Yeah, it was good. It's not. I mean, I like the lab when it's quiet. It's a little bit easier to get work done, so that's been nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, my week's been pretty awesome. Definitely have FOMO. I really like TabConf. It's one of my faves. And it's the
A lot
first
of
year I've
Stacker
missed
News hats.
in a while. Okay, you saw some Stacker News hats?
There was I don't know who it was, and maybe it was just me imagining it, but I was sitting in a audience, like just like in a seat, and I overheard another group of people talking about Stacker News live and wondering if we were going to record it today. So the answer is yes. We ended up recording it today. But I thought that was kind of weird because I was like, wait, do they know I'm like sitting in front of them? It was weird.
Probably. I mean, they might have been what got them to start talking about it. I doubt it's a
But
subject
there's
of
people wearing Stacker
conversation.
News.
Otherwise,
There's people wearing Stacker News hats here. It's growing.
well, I do. I mean, I do have about 1 billion of them, so I have like one for every human on Earth. So some people will wear them.
Yeah, it was cool. But anyways, if you've never seen this crazy show before, we cover the top 5 stories on Stacker.news, the front page of Bitcoin. We're going to dive into this week's top stories. Let's jump into the first one. The first one is from the first one's called Darthcoin Journey on Stacker News. This is from Darthcoin, October 21st, Bitcoin territory. 135 comments, 30,000 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, well, Darthcoin kind of does the survey from the kind of birth to now, more or less. With saving us from the irrelevant details, but like where his journey perhaps as a Bitcoiner began, at least philosophically, which is like growing up in a communist regime, dealing with all the nonsense there, escaping the communist regime, still not feeling like he escaped, even though he had found his way to like the free Western quote unquote capitalist societies. And then the way he encountered Bitcoin for the first time, which was through a friend who recommended it to him in, I believe, 2010. And then he put it aside like most people do on first pass, and then he ran into his friend again later in 2012, and then he really got into Bitcoin, and then and that is the making of Darthcoin. That is the origin story of Darthcoin as a Bitcoiner. You can see why maybe he has some people would say an attitude, some people would call it riz that he has, but that it's probably because he knows what the other side of things is like. And then he talks a bit about Stacker News here at the end, and gives us some of his ideas on features or direction, recommendations for other stackers, that kind of stuff at the end.
Yeah, I read the post, but gee, what did you think about it?
I thought it was really cool to hear the origin story. You know, it was like going back and watching the Star Wars prequels, and you find out how Darth Vader went to the dark side. I basically got that right here with Darthcoin. But I mean, it was cool to read. Throw him some sats, tell him thank you. You know, he's one of the guys that sticks to best practices. Mm-hmm. And the longer you're in this space, the more you see those practices saving a lot of people a lot of headache, a lot of time. You know.
Yeah. I thought it was a great post. I really was like, wow, this is setting up perfect for an initial coin offering. So I really thought he was gonna show like a new coin or something, because it was so good. What? It was going through it perfectly, and then he didn't do that, which I love. But no, I mean, Darth he's a legend on Stacker News. I mean, he just is, and a lot of the advice that he gives people don't like, but turns out to be true most of the time. I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time it turns out to be true. But you kind of need people like Darth in the Bitcoin space, especially on Stacker News. It keeps everybody in check. It brings balance to the force. Yeah, so.
It's true. You do need the dark side of the force, and
definitely.
Yeah.
Got
yeah. I thought it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Somebody. No, I was just gonna say I thought it was a great post. I didn't realize you were talking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got Scoresby with the top comment. He said emphasis on pay to post is good. It's easier than thinking about Stacker News to focus on innovation of receiving sats. I'm curious for your thoughts about the incentives of Stacker News. Here's how I understand it. Posters have an incentive to post good posts. People will zap. Commenters have an incentive to make. What is the incentive for zappers? Did you read what Scoresby said, Keyan?
Yeah, I was in that thread a little bit. I mostly responded to the comment that he responded to Darthcoin with in a follow up, which he's talking about pay to read, and so I've thought about pay to read a lot. I don't think it actually works in the case where you have untrusted, more or less, publishers, like people who very low barrier to entry to publish.
Yeah.
If you're I don't know, Macmillan or you're a book publisher or whatever, like you can probably trust they're picking good stuff, and it's worth $10 to buy the mass market paperback. But for content on the internet by a pseudonym that you've never seen before, I'm not sure you want to pay $10 to read an article unless someone told you it's good already. So anyway, that was mostly what I had to contribute in terms of that top comment.
What'd you think?
As far as getting paid and
Yeah.
sats, I mean, I've liked the idea since it first came out. As far as value for value, a lot of regular devs back home in South Texas don't understand it yet. So it's the whole talk of this is how the new social media era is going to be: value for value. How much value am I getting from your information? Yeah, no, I'm down with it.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple key, like, I think Ben Thompson was the first one to actually like make money from his audience doing his own thing off of Substack. I know Glenn Greenwald was also another person. So I think you're right, Keyan. Like, unless you're somebody with a key insight or a following already, it's going to be really hard to put that paywall. And yeah, I think I wasn't sure what Scoresby was actually trying to allude to there, but it sounds like he was just saying to pay before you view the content, which is even like for Thriller, some of like our stuff is paywalled on Thriller, but it's only paywalled after a week, if that makes any sense. So you get a week of viewing it for free, but after a week you have to pay for it, and that seems to be working for me. But it just kind of depends on your audience.
Yeah, I think that what Scoresby was saying there specifically was Darthcoin has this meme that he likes to share, make them pay. And so Scoresby was testing the limits of make them pay. Does Darthcoin want to make people pay to read? What does Darthcoin want people to pay for? So Scoresby is just trying to get to know Darthcoin's perspective on incentives a little better. So that's what that was about.
I want to say in Darthcoin's story, he even said something about like he's been living off of his stack for so long now, and all these are just, it's kind of just to play with so he can get the information out. So
yeah, I mean, he said several times. I mean, he's implied at least he's well off. Sorry,
yeah.
Car.
No, I was just gonna say I think it was really surprising that he talked a little bit about his communism and his upbringing and how that has disrupted his life somewhat, at least the first half of it. Yeah, it sounds traumatizing. It sounds like he's been through some traumatic events in his life, and usually people that, and this is me not psychoanalyzing him, but kind of, usually people that have gone through something of a similar trauma, they then tend to carry that with them as a shield, and so good on him for wanting to speak out about it, because I think most people kind of just become miserable people and they don't talk about what frustrates them. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's very helpful to hear that perspective. I think one of the cool things is hearing from a bunch of other stackers that have had had a very similar experience, where they also, because so many people on Stacker News, which is one of my favorite things about Stacker News, are not like living in the West or didn't originate living in the West. And they had a similar experience where they grew up in communism, or they grew up somewhere where things were very dysfunctional. The money was very dysfunctional, and it helped helped them see the value of Bitcoin earlier.
Yeah, I think Carvalho says it best. He's like, Stacker News is unapologetically Stacker News, which I
When did
think
he say that?
he said that many times. Like I think he said it on my pod, and I think he said it in Stacker News uh, on his thing.
Hey, man.
Probably, yeah. But he's right. That's what it is. That's why it's kind of one of those things where like if you don't get it, then you know you don't get it. But
It's like Matrix 4.
no, it's better than Matrix 4. Don't sell yourself short. It's like Matrix 2. It's like Matrix 2. Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
damn. Matrix 2 is pretty damn good. The next top story is setting up my first Meshtastic radio. This is from Siggy47, October 21st. Bitcoin territory. All the zaps are forwarded to Kepford. 40 comments, 15,000 sats. Keyan. Wow, what's this?
Yeah, so I guess Siggy used to be an amateur radio guy. I think Ham was what he operated. And he's started messing around with Laura, which is, I guess, this proprietary band. So Ham is like, I think the government runs the Ham band, but Laura is like its own thing that I think maybe even a private entity owns. I don't actually know. I'm not a radio head, so I don't really know too much about this stuff. But he's starting to mess around with Laura, which is this a small radio device and a set of protocols for communicating with other devices on the same protocol. And it has like 10, from what I was reading on Wikipedia, it has like 10-mile range. So you could probably get a pretty decent mesh. I mean, the people who are developing the protocol and technology imply that it should be able to scale globally. Should it reach significant adoption, some saturation point, and then you can have an internet that is independent of any ISP, and maybe, I don't know. But so anyway, Siggy's getting started running the device himself, and so he has a short guide describing how he got it set up and what his experience was like. Kepford helped him a little bit. I think he uses Fran's Zap Store. It's like a PWA alternative to Google's App Store. But yeah, pretty cool. He said he hasn't connected to anyone because the range isn't large enough to find anyone else with a LoRa. I think or using LoRa. I don't know what Ham's range is pretty significant. He was talking about possibly getting like an antenna to maybe extend his range. I'm not sure how far it goes. It varies based on the frequency and stuff. So anyway, it's really cool. It's kind of like if the internet didn't exist, I'd probably be super into radio. I think, I should still be into radio, but I'm occupied with the internet. But I think it's really cool that you can just send communication over the air invisibly to people.
Yeah, G.
I think it's cool, man. I haven't messed with any of this either, but here at TabConf, they're having workshops on building these, just breaking everything down. So probably go mess with it a little bit. And I know they're big. They're big amongst the free and open source software development circle. It's just a cool little project. It gives your communications, I guess, like some sovereignty. I've heard a lot of talks, San Antonio and Austin, different guys just wanting to, create a whole mesh network down there and just get it going. So more salute to them.
Yeah, it's awesome. And they shared a SatsPy video from 2023 where I think I don't know who had a Meshtastic project, but someone built something. Was that the one that Super and Topher did?
I can't
Car,
play
do you
it.
remember?
I can't play it because if I play it, or we'll lose internet connection. But yeah, I think Meshtastic was was
Oh,
Ben,
it was Ben's.
or yeah, it
Yeah,
was Ben Werman. I think Ben W.
not Werman, not Werman.
Oh, okay, maybe somebody
Yeah,
else's. But yeah,
another Ben, one of the many Bens of
one of the mini
Bitcoin.
Bens. But yeah, I think dude, there was a time I remember, like me and Tony used to talk about all the time, but I think it was like 22. We were really trying to figure out the mesh stuff, and then we all just got super busy. And then last year was kind of the next time we were trying to do it, and then got busy again. And then yeah, so I think it's just a matter of us having time, like you said earlier. It's just we're all super busy now, so this is something like near and dear to my heart that I've been wanting to get off the ground for like 3 years here in Austin, and we just haven't been able to do it because we're all busy. Yeah.
Yeah, that would really be the move, is to get like
Yeah.
a a city, perhaps in a densely populated city too, because you wouldn't need that many people per unit
Dude,
area to get
we could make it
involved.
happen. I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't make it. We can make this happen. Maybe maybe I'll look back into it. I think if we had somebody like Siggy come to PlebLab for like a week, just like visit, he could probably get us over the edge to doing it. To be in all honesty, like we need somebody to come in there, like lead the project, and then all of us will go behind and like help him. Do you know what I mean? I've noticed to get stuff over the goal line, you need like a main person kind of leading it. But if anybody, I mean, yeah, if Siggy's down to come to PlebLab for like a week, it could we could probably get this thing going. Yeah.
Yeah, you really need someone to care deeply. It's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, because people don't really, on average, people don't care about things that they don't care about. So it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, we have
They
one
can usually
person.
care about one or two things.
Yeah, max. But yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna read this weekend. But I definitely want to do this. It's freaking awesome. Cool. The next top story is Bitcoin PSA. It's helpful and important to define terms before we lose our way. This is from 02855, October 23rd. Bitcoin territory, 10K boost, 19 comments, 15,000 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen similar posts in Bitcoin before about the importance of terms. Most memorably for me, there was one by GG a few years ago, where I think he said "words matter" or something. I think that was maybe the title of it. But in the same spirit, this NIM that is mostly numbers and letters, that doesn't spell anything, describes a few common terms that we use in Bitcoin in an effort to get us maybe started thinking about delineating things a little more, so that we're not dealing with only black and white. It's kind of like looking at a painting, a full color painting, and if you really only know two colors, black and white, you can't really describe the richness which exists in the painting, and that might be uh, a less than great way to live. So what he's hoping for is that we kind of separate things out, and we kind of clearly understand what a Bitcoiner is. We clearly understand what other things are in Bitcoin or outside of Bitcoin, and then we don't have to deal with all the vagueness and uncertainty around at least what things are, and we can maybe speak a little more clearly about what things are. One of the cool, he draws a comparison to pilgrims and Puritans, and pilgrims branched off of
Mm,
churches in England because
yeah.
they weren't uh, following God in the way that they thought God should be followed. Um, and yeah, and that maybe Bitcoin has something to learn from them, but there were kind of things were clearly defined, I think, as part of the point he's trying to make. But um,
Yeah, what do you think
anyway,
about it?
that was good.
What do you think
About
about
what?
it? About the whole thing? Do you think he has something here?
Yeah, I think nuance, Matt. I think nuance is good. I think being able to really say what something is and what it isn't is helpful. I think there are like shades of evil, there are shades of bad, there are shades of good. I don't think only having bad or good is the right way to deal with a complex thing. I think you really need to, say that, maybe someone who dabbled in altcoins for a while, maybe they're not Satan before they found Bitcoin, and so maybe like separating those things out is worth doing, and calling a Bitcoiner not only, because some people have a definition of a Bitcoiner is someone who hates altcoiners. That's like kind of that's sort of what I've seen. Some people have that working definition of a Bitcoiner. I don't think it's probably the right one. It's too small of a group, I think, to really want to belong to. But he does a pretty good job of defining Bitcoin here. What do you guys think?
What do you think?
As far as him with the definitions and stuff,
Yeah, or just your opinion on the whole thing.
I mean, it's cool. The thing I like about the Bitcoin space is you're not going to please everyone. So there's always going to be
factions.
There's always factions. Something. Honestly, when he's talking about the terms, it reminds me back in the day when I used to play video games, like calling somebody a noob, like a new player. Just comes with the territory. I think it's all it is, and people can opt in and learn the lingo.
Yeah.
Or they can choose to remain on the outside and take the experts' advice.
I don't know. I think I come off probably more on the hard. And this is where I was talking to somebody this week, and I won't say who it was, but they started talking about eCash, and then I was just listening, and then they're like, "Oh, right, you're not a fan of eCash." That's what they told me, and I won't say who it is, but. And then I was like, no, I mean, people can build whatever they want, but if you want my opinion, it sounds like you want my opinion. That's why you're talking to me about it. I then gave him my opinion on it, and I've just come to realize that people are going to build what they're going to build, and let them build what they're going to build. I have my opinions on it, and if they ask me for it, I'm going to give it to them. But I know what I'm doing with what I'm building towards, and that's Bitcoin only. But if other people think that they're doing something that they perceive as Bitcoin only, then that's how they perceive it. And it's not I'm not going to try to change them. I'm just not going to help them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to help them by encouraging them that they're actually doing something Bitcoin. I'm going to be like, no, it's not Bitcoin. But it's to each their own, man. I think I would say this cycle specifically is really weird because, and I said it was going to happen post Bitcoin ETF. It's just like post Bitcoin ETF, everything's changed, and everything that's a shitcoin is on Bitcoin, and you can't even tell a Bitcoin only project anymore. So the days that how do you say that, the halcyon days of Bitcoin only projects are probably going away, and it's going to be even harder to find pure Bitcoin only projects and builders. That's why you have to be even louder, which I feel you have to be even louder. You have to be the loudest person in the room saying, no, if you want to build Bitcoin, come over here. You can actually come and learn how to build Bitcoin. But if you want to do some shitcoin stuff, then there's other places for that. But I don't know. That's where I kind of land on it. Maybe it's too harsh. But like I was telling that person, I think I've always been this way, and the people around me were always this way. It's just over time they became less lenient, and I just stayed the same. Like nothing changed. Like I didn't change. I just stayed the same, and everybody around me became more lenient with all this stuff. So that's where I kind of land on it.
I see. So you're like a lot of people, like Elon Musk says he used to be a liberal, and he's still a liberal, but everyone else changed into.
Is that what he says?
Far more radical,
dude. Yeah. Like in 21, like you remember me, like I wasn't that hardcore of a Bitcoiner. I'm still the same Bitcoiner as I was in 21 and 2020. So
you are the same. You are the same, but you were. You were storming out of like talks on soft forks that you didn't like. So that's how I met you. If we want to,
you're talking about the Jeremy Rubin
excavate
stuff?
That.
Oh, you're talking about the Jeremy Rubin thing? Well, yeah, I was calling out a shitcoin. I was right, but
it wasn't a shitcoin. I don't think that was right. He was talking about a soft fork.
But still, look where it went. All I'm saying is like it's. All I'm trying to get at is like I haven't changed. I think everybody around me has changed when it comes to their leniency on what is Bitcoin and what isn't Bitcoin. So I think all roads lead to Bitcoin. So it doesn't even matter if they go and do shitcoining for a little bit. They're going to come back to Bitcoin and they're going to ask. They're going to be like, "Wait, what happened?" And I'll be like, "Well, you were shitcoining for a spell and you just came back because that's what happened in 2017. Everybody started shitcoining, and then all of a sudden, like, oh no, I've been a Bitcoin maxi the whole time. I'm like, no, you haven't. That's where it's like 2017 all over again. That's how I feel it is. It's just like everybody's shitcoining.
So what do you call? So what is Bitcoin and what isn't Bitcoin? Because you said eCash isn't Bitcoin. So what distinguishes eCash from Bitcoin in your view?
I
I
think
think
I
that
think
might be interesting.
if it's not operating on chain and it's if it's using like some sort of banking tech of a sort that like my understanding of eCash is you don't there's no reason to use it other than like you could just be it's like liquid, right? It's like some other type of uh, uh, it's another way to get somebody to hold your Bitcoin custodial wise that you could just do if you ran your own node and spun up your own channels on the Lightning Network. To me, it's just a laziness. And there's already
Okay.
Liquid. There's already like Arc. Arc's coming out. There's Fetty now, so you can do Fetty. There's eNuts or whatever. There's all these shitcoins that you could use to do that and you should go and use them. But don't try to say that eCash or Liquid or are these is Bitcoin because it's not. It's just not. And like that kind of rhetoric is like is getting people confused. And I think that's by design. I think they're trying to confuse people because they want people to give them their Bitcoin so they can rug them. But that's probably where I'll take it to the extreme. But in reality, like people are coming in this cycle thinking that eCash is Bitcoin and thinking that this is amazing. And it's like, no, dude, you're using a shitcoin. It's just that you're being psyoped into believing that. That's my belief on what a Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin isn't.
Okay. So it sounds like it's basically a trust thing. If you're trusting third parties, it's a shitcoin. Is kind of the way I think you're distinguishing Bitcoin from these other things. These are things that you listed. Zcash and Liquid imply that you're trusting either Liquid's federation or the federation who is running the mint or the single mint runner in the case of Cashew. And it's that you aren't a sovereign individual
Yeah.
using Bitcoin. You are a you are asking on some level for permission to get access to your Bitcoin.
And if
Should you
people are
want
fine with
Bitcoin at
that
some
and
point?
people can make businesses around it, so be it. But to say that's Bitcoin is hard stop. It's a no. That's not Bitcoin. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like it doesn't. Bitcoin is when you send something on chain, or if you're using the Lightning Network, and it's supposed to be hard. You're supposed to be hard to build on Bitcoin. That's why there's very few profitable companies that are building on Bitcoin. Um, so that's where it's at. I think there's nothing wrong if you're building on these things. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that that's not Bitcoin. That's you're using some sort of third party custodial thing that's a shitcoin to obfuscate that it's Bitcoin when you could just be using a totally different blockchain. To me, because I've already been through the crypto cycle, it just looks like wrapped Bitcoin to me. That's what it looks like. It reminds me of an ERC20 token, just wrapped Bitcoin, and you're letting somebody hold it like a. Back then, it was like some shitcoin company called I forget the name, Compound, I think it was called. So you're basically setting your Bitcoin to Compound, and they're wrapping your Bitcoin. They're giving you could swap it out for USD. It's basically all the DeFi, over leveraged. Maybe that's sitting there, maybe it's not. If you redeem it, it's all that kind of stuff. Because how else are you going to make money doing that? You're not. You're not going to make money on the transactions that you send. You're not going to make money on the Bitcoin that you're custodying. You're going to have to only make money one way, and that's by over leveraging or providing a sort of yield. And it all leads to, and we know how that book ends. So that's why, like when I see the eCash and the cashew stuff and all the other stuff, it just looks like it's headed in that direction. And I've been through this before. Um, so yeah,
Cool. I think I like your point about the mint runners needing to make money and maybe doing something unscrupulous to make money. I think that's pretty good. Why do you think there are so many Because it seems like a lot of maxi influencers have a different point of view on it. Why do you think that? I don't want to say any names, but you don't either. I know. Why do you think they're so pro eCash? If
I
that's the
don't know.
case.
I actually don't know. I know that because I know they're hardcore Bitcoiners. And when I have conversations with them, it's like, Car, like, stop. Just like let them build what they want to build. It's like you're jumping to conclusions when it's not there. And that's the feedback that I get from them. But in reality, it's not that I'm jumping to conclusions. I'm just like, no, this is where it's going. I'm the only one that's actually saying it vocally. And no one wants
But
to have that conversation.
they're not just stepping out of the way though and letting people build. They're like they're literally saying it's the future. This is freedom.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
who's saying. I don't hear them saying that, but maybe I haven't been listening to the same podcast yet. Yeah, I've never heard
maybe.
them say it's the future. I hear them saying, "Oh, this is great for privacy," which is complete bullshit. It's not. You're just asking to get picked up by the Fed or an agency, or else you would have done it a while ago, Keon. Right? I mean, if you thought if you thought eCash was the way, you would have just spun up a mint and eCashed your way out of custodial options, wouldn't you?
Well, no, the reason why Sacker News isn't a mint is because men still have to take custody, so that's like the biggest problem. But it does enhance privacy if you are running a bank-like service. It could, and you're not a bad actor, and you're not using broken cryptography or something. Um,
But to me,
it does,
to me
yeah.
that's the same thing as having a bank. Like like, yeah, like that's why I don't understand. That's why when Super had that one last week with the stable coins and the stable channels, he kind of hit on a similar thing. It was like, then why are we Bitcoining anyway? Like, what's the point of Bitcoining if we're just gonna do the same thing all over again? And that's where I'm kind of like, it's like, hang on, like, where is this headed? Because it feels like you're building in this direction, and I just think somebody needs to sound off on this stuff. But I don't do it too often. I mean, this is the first time I've talked about it in about 5 months. I've been pretty good about not talking about this, but I mean, you ask.
I did ask. I don't think I regret it. So, but I enjoyed that.
Gee,
Let's move on to the next one.
go
Or
ahead.
no, yeah,
Yes.
G. We didn't
What,
get G's thoughts.
As far as the eCash and everything,
yeah, you
I
can have a
mean,
different opinion on than
no,
mine.
I mean, I see it the same way. You're basically digitizing the dollar, and it's still in the same system as the dollar. The same economics apply. Um, and when you opt for eCash, you're taking Bitcoin out of the hands of the people who need it most. Yeah, I get it with the volatility in other countries. It helps, but you might as well just give them cuck bucks.
Yeah,
Might as well just stay
like,
using dollars.
yeah, and that's where to me, it just. But if they don't have access to dollars, yeah, that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
But that's not Bitcoin's problem to fix. That's a fiat problem that needs to be fixed. And that's where I'm like, Bitcoiners need to pick the hill. I think simply this is the way I was brought up, was like, or as brought up as in Bitcoin, was like, you need to pick the hill that you want to die on, and then die on that hill. But if you choose to die on an eCash hill, well, then don't get sad when no one's out there rescuing you or willing to stand up there beside you, because no one's going to wave a white flag and try to help you get off that hill. Like, no, it's just not going to happen. But if you're soloing it, trying to die on a Bitcoin hill, I mean, maybe you don't want to die on it, but you're willing to go up the hill and fight to have that hill, then yeah, I want to help you do that, because I know there's fewer and fewer Bitcoin only projects out there and startups. And if you want help doing that, and you're Bitcoin only, come find me. I want to help you as much as I can, because there's very few of you. So that's where, like, for me, it just reinvigorates me even more.
Heck yeah.
Anyways, let's get to the next. Let's get into the next top story. The third top story of the week is Minneapolis Fed's paper on banning Bitcoin to maintain permanent deficits. I'm sorry. 02855 Bitcoin territory, October 21st. 92 comments, 10K boost, 21,000 sats. Keon, what's this?
Yeah, this post from the Minneapolis Fed has really stirred up a lot of people, because because they talk explicitly about Bitcoin and its relation to the government, and that the government they kind of say it out loud that the government has an interest in destroying Bitcoin. Is like what most of gets it's kicked up, but a lot of it, like buried in like that's really at the surface level. Buried in it, there's quite a bit of math, and that's kind of more so what they're talking about, from what I can tell, is like in the models that they're using. And I haven't read the actual paper. It's it's quite a lot, and I'm not an economist, but they're mostly saying that the models that they're using suggest that in a world where Bitcoin isn't zero, it's very hard to maintain things like permanent deficits, and like what needs to happen such that permanent deficits can be maintained. Anyway, this is another top post from the same 10 letters and numbers that no one can pronounce because it's just letters and numbers. And they're describing this paper and pulling out interesting parts, but there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin. What can be done maybe in a situation where they can't destroy Bitcoin, they can't completely make Bitcoin illegal. How is the government going to maintain fiscal deficits? I think they discuss consumption taxes, so primarily sales taxes, because Bitcoiners will, people whose assets are going up, even though their assets are going up, will still have to spend money, and so they could take their government money there. I think was one part. Again, I haven't read it. This is this post and a few other posts on Stacker News are where I got a very cursory understanding. A lot of people on Stacker News understand this kind of stuff better than me. But yeah, this was a kind of a big deal this week in Bitcoin. A lot of people were surprised to see this, and I think they're like, look, they're coming after us. We've made. I think that's on some, like half of it is like we made it. Half of it is we made it. They're coming after us. We're significant enough that the Fed is really trying to come after us now. They've taken a keen interest. And then the other half is like, oh no, the government is like, maybe not, like Saylor was wrong. The government maybe isn't on our side, stuff like that. But it's a cool moment in Bitcoin, this paper, I think, even if I don't understand it.
Yeah. Did you read this? Did you hear about it?
Did not read it. Did not hear about it. This is all my first time. Probably go back and check it out as well too.
Yeah, it's Scoresby with the top comment. He said, "We can only pretend that fiat is working if there is no alternative." 0285 OP said, "This should all be over." Nostra, Twitter, Stacker News, and Reddit. Not necessarily this post, of course, but absolutely this paper. Undisciplined says, "They're starting to realize just how effed they are. We have to brace ourselves because they won't go down easily." Yeah, I think this is, I think this is just coping. I think they see the writing on the wall. I think this has been going on for a while, since the whole what's the what they call it, choke point 2.0. So this has been going on for like 2 or 3 years. I think Nick Carter sounded off about it like 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm not like, it's not that they're trying to ban Bitcoin. They already started. They just haven't came after us directly, but that'll happen definitely in our lifetime for sure. But this is why Bitcoin only.
Yeah, that's a great point. It very closely relates to what we were talking about before. In a world where the government is actually coming after Bitcoiners, if you have something that proclaims to be Bitcoin, but it has more central figures behind it, that's an easier attack for the government than a bunch of individuals who are, mom and pops around the world using Bitcoin. It's really hard to come after all your citizenry, or a large majority of your citizenry.
No, I think you hit it right on the head. Yeah, I think that's exactly why I've been saying for the past 2 years, like, in order to get to hyper Bitcoinization, we need more companies, we need more businesses running Bitcoin or building Bitcoin businesses, and we're doing that here in Austin. I think it's happening all over the world. And
You're not in Austin.
Well,
one
you know what I
else.
mean. I think it's happening all over the world. I think even like ATL BitLab, they have these little businesses, these little projects that are coming out of there now. I think there's going to be more hubs popping up in these major cities over the course of this next bull run, and so it's just a matter of time that like this is the time to punch back. But all this other shitcoinery stuff and like all these other like L2s and no disrespect to the people that are building them or anything, it just goes against what the whole ethos of Bitcoin was. And this it's just going to be weird because they're going to come after those people first. Like they're going to be far easier to grab those people that are creating their own tether on these other things. They're not going to come after the Bitcoiners that are self-custodying, and that's the biggest problem. Is you're setting yourself up for failure, and you're setting up the people that are using your products potentially in the future. And but like I said before, I think eCash would work if it sits between a CBDC and Bitcoin. I think it will work. Like if they pass a bill that says like an eCash bill, I think it will work because that actually would provide them the banking tech. But it just leads back to fractional reserve banking if you play it out. So I don't know, man. I just don't see the point of going through that whole process again if we could just go straight to Bitcoin. Um, but somebody smarter than me has to figure this out. I can't be the only one thinking about this. Everybody has a job,
Yeah,
Keyan. Everybody has a job.
they do.
I'm doing my job.
They do.
G, are you doing your job?
Trying my best, sir.
So somebody needs to figure out how to get us to a Bitcoin standard without entirely destroying ourselves. It's not me though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have a lot of Bitcoiners who care about this kind of stuff, a lot of Bitcoin builders who are building on this kind of stuff. But I think it's mostly a self-custody thing. I think we need to be. I think part of the eCash, all this, the L2s and stuff, is some of it at least. I don't know yet how much, but some of it at least is like hopium, because building on the protocols that we have, the way that they are, is hard, very hard. And so there's hope that there's an easier way. And so every project that gets mentioned or as a possible solution to that, we have a lot of hopefuls who are like, yes, okay, finally, an easy way. And I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
sure they are that solution yet.
yeah, we saw Ripple do this in 2017, right? They were paying Bill Clinton and the Clintons, and they were paying like all sorts of people in the fiat sector for all sorts of appearances at their conferences and stuff. This was like in 2017, 2018, just so they could be the banking tech of the next like potentially CBDC or whatever. So all this has been tried already before, and just in a different cycle, and it's just you're seeing it again this cycle, right? Like Chris Larson gave, I think it was like 7 million or 5 million to Kamala's presidency, and I think the Bitcoiners gave like 7 or 5 million, something like that, for Trump's presidency. So you're kind of already seeing what's happening, just on the election side. But it's, oh man, it just all so tiresome.
Yeah, don't bring politics into it. I don't think that'll end up mattering much. I think
I mean, yeah, it won't
regardless,
matter. But I'm trying to put a spotlight on like where people are placing their bets.
yeah, I think the government's incentives are clear though. Unless their currency is absolutely destroyed, they have no reason to like back Bitcoin and want to be a pro Bitcoin. Because everything that they want to do is paid for with the US dollar. So I don't really see them being pro Bitcoin until they have to be pro Bitcoin, until they have no other choice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You got anything to add?
Nah, man, you're hitting it right on the head.
Yep. We're on a roll this week, Keyan. The last story of the week is Last Pay Wins bounty at 210k sats this AM. What's this?
Yeah. So this was a project by Alex Lewin. I think he made it at a Bitcoin Plus hackathon a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Maybe this was
right.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, Alex Lewin famously, he did, along with a few other people we're familiar with, did I think Pleb FM,
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of a similar premise, using Lightning to pay for something in a competitive manner. And last pay wins here is like you have someone pays an invoice to last pay wins, and then a timer starts. And then if no one else pays, they collect whatever has accumulated from all the other people who have been participating in last pay wins. And I guess this week someone drove it up quite high. I think it got up maybe to six figures in sats, or seven figures in sats. And Scoresby calls it out. I think they're in this thread. 2.7 million or 2.07 million sats is where it got up to, and someone ended up getting all that money. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's like, over if you count fiat, it's like over $1,000.
Yeah. Have you played this, G?
Nah, man, it looks cool though.
We played this last year at TabConf, I think, but it was at their hackerspace. But yeah, it was a similar version. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we played this. But it's fun when you have like a party and this is going on just at a computer. It can get very addicting. Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
remember hitting like 200K sats. I think the highest it got to was like 50K sats. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of stackers who happen to, there's a very zap happy demographic on a relative basis. Probably nowhere in the world, but on Stacker News are people more
Pretty much.
likely to spend Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But yeah, they drove it up really high, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool how you can make something like this interactive. Dude, there's people that don't even got to speak English. Not
They
not
know how
even
to
the same
win.
languages. Yeah, and
Yeah.
everyone understands Bitcoin, understand
Yeah.
the rules. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Cool. And I think that's all the top stories of the week. We're going to jump into Keyan's story, which is there is no perfect set of incentives.
Well, I think that was actually another top 5 story.
Oh, okay.
We do have, yeah, but this was just Scoresby riffing on the Minneapolis Fed paper, and describing, basically alerting us to the fact that Bitcoin isn't perfectly aligned with the government's incentives, so it's going to have to get checked by the government a time or two for it to really, I think, survive. I think it's actually good for Bitcoin in many ways to get checked like this by the government, for the government to take, especially like really sloppy stabs at trying to kill Bitcoin, so that Bitcoin doesn't take a significant hit, either publicity wise or otherwise, and but gets it on enough people's radars that they begin working on defenses for government like attacks.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an interesting discussion, and because it's true. Most systems, they end up having flaws. You end up with some loss if if you're looking at like a system of gears or a machine. It's not perfect at using all the energy productively. It's going to lose some of it. There's really, I don't think there is a way to engineer a system that doesn't have some flaws in it. Doesn't have, and in this case specifically, you might describe it as a market failure in economics, just kind of inevitable. But you kind of want the system with the perhaps like the net greatest like aggregate benefit. Even and so saying that a system has flawed incentives isn't enough to discount it entirely. Anyway, I just thought this is like a rich, thoughtful area of discussion.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on it, G?
It's interesting how he puts there's no perfect set of incentives. I mean how it goes back to the Matrix. People know there's something wrong with the system, yet some people love the system so much they'll defend it with their lives. But that's what kind of reminded me right there. Just
I thought undisciplined. He said, um, Don't tear down a fence unless you fully understand why it was put up. I love that. I love that saying. That's like one of my favorite sayings. It's by G.K. Chesterton. But yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, we're gonna jump into. I think that's all the stories. That's all your stories too, Keyan, this week. I just wanted to share this real quick. We posted the hackathon projects because I know some people on Stacker News were following it from last week. But yeah, so we had the hackathon 2. That's Santos right there. I can't play it, but I'll do another full write up on Stacker News this weekend once we get announced the winners. But you go to Stacker News here and you can see all the projects that got submitted and check them out. There's some really good ones, some really interesting Frost stuff. Yeah, it won't let me view it all, but you guys get it. Go check it out. And then the other one was this one because Halloween is this weekend, or wait, next week. It's next week. It feels like this week. But Crypto Nader posted the movies territory. So he made a movies territory, and dude, I'm all in. Like John Hoddle, all in for this. It's kind of cool. So he put Halloween is here. What are your top thriller movies? Check mine below. He had The Shining, The Ring 1 and 2, Hide and Seek, The Others, Sixth Sense, Truth or Dare, The Call, which I've never seen, and then Evil. I've never seen that one. Keyan, what's your top Halloween thriller movies?
Oh God, I wish we went through a phase, I think like a year or two ago, where we watched all the Hellraisers.
Yeah.
Which were pretty great. And then we found that they did a recent one. I think it's only on, it's like a Hulu exclusive. It was actually pretty good. And then the Purges. I really like the horror. I like the horror movies that aren't so like gruesome or scary, that they can do like several of them, and then you have like a little bit of a collection of them. And so those would be mine, but I'm sure there are others. But I don't like ghosts and shit. I hate that. I really hate ghosts. So too scary.
G, what are yours? You got anything?
I don't know. Right now, just came to mind, Christine.
Oh yeah, that one's a good one. Did you ever see that, Keyan? Christine with the car.
I might.
Yeah,
I'll have to look it up.
Old 80s, 90s.
Christine.
Dude, I put Smile 2. Dude, I saw Smile 2 this week, Keyan. Oh my god, man. Talk about like the first 15 minutes of Smile 2 is like ridiculously insane. I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie that starts off that good, like ever. It's crazy how good.
Really?
It is. Yes. Like,
what was the one where the kid gets decapitated? What is that one?
Which one's that one?
He gets decapitated in a car.
Wait, you saw Smile 2 already?
No, but this was another movie. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff. But dude, the first 15 minutes it picks off from Smile 1. So you have to see Smile 1 to see Smile 2 technically. And then it continues on. Dude, the first 15 minutes is insane. I would watch it all over again just to watch the first 15 minutes. But so that was already good enough for me. And then it does this thing where it's like, I guess this writer director like understands subtlety, and he understands like trying to spell a deeper meaning in a movie than what's being watched. It's very Kubrick-like, but he did this thing where it's around this pop star thing, but he kind of talks to how deep and dark the music industry is, and like it does this kind of thing where you're watching it and you're like, oh, I know what he's saying. And yeah, it's a really damn good movie. I was like really shocked how good it was, because most movies are shit these days, but Smile 2 is like really good, insanely good.
I don't think I've seen Smile 1, but
yeah, it was. I think it was just an Amazon movie, but it did really well that now it's like it got a public release. He was able to get a public release, and I think Smile 2 is like doing really good in the theater, because it's like people are sharing that it's actually really, really good. So everybody's going to the theater to watch it for Halloween, and now like it sounds like it's gonna make even more money than Smile 1. So yeah, you should check it out if you want a scary movie.
Nice.
Pretty, dude. I had to go like this several times. I was like, I can't watch this stuff. It was bad, dude. It's so bad. because you like it's really gory, but I'm just like, oh, I can't look at that. But the story's so good.
I don't mind gore.
Oh,
I don't
I
mind
can't
gore.
watch
I
that.
hate creepiness. I hate ghosts. I hate like dark forces. That
This
shit
one's a
just
dark
bugs
force,
me.
yeah, because they're all smiling.
Okay.
Yeah, watch part one. If you can't get through part one, then you probably shouldn't watch part two. But
Okay.
yeah, and I think other than that one, I would say The Shining for me is up there. I like The Shining. I could watch that all the time. It's so good.
Classic.
Yeah,
That is a good one.
cool. Those are all my
Cool.
top stories of the week. But yeah, let's jump into the top.
Well, I wanted to mention
Yeah,
there was a post we skipped over in top because I wasn't sure whether it was meta or not, but it was
which one?
it was route not found. That was by undisciplined
Oh, okay.
mini stackers as a result of us switching to a non-custodial setup on Stacker News have begun exploring alternative, like actually what's out there in Lightning. Like for many people, a Stacker News was the first use of Lightning ever. So we Undisciplined got set up with Alby Hub, and I think he's running their embedded node and is beginning to experience some of the UX hurdles of Lightning and dealing with liquidity, which is like, probably the biggest pain point that Lightning has relative to on-chain, if anyone's familiar with on-chain. And so this thread is kind of us discussing why, despite having liquidity in certain channels, they're still not able to get payments the way they want to. The difference between private and public channels. So if anyone's curious about that, you can come read that thread and maybe learn a little bit about Lightning.
This is good, dude, because you're kind of forcing the community to look at these problems head on, and these are problems that plebs just kind of you were talking about earlier, influencers and other people of power in Bitcoin, and before we would just kind of as plebs we would just say, oh well, I'm just going to listen to whoever and I believe them, and but now here Stacker News, you're kind of it's your problems are thrown to your face and you're left to solve them, so it's like no one's going to hold your hand now. You have to actually figure out if you're going to do the cowboy credits or if you're going to actually want to get sats and come to terms with how difficult Lightning is right now in its current implementation. So
yeah, I think we've all been kind of ignoring the pain in Lightning a little bit. Just kind of thinking it'll get solved. All the protocol devs will take care of it. We'll just wait. We'll use Wallet of Satoshi. We'll use custodial services. Or maybe eCash will occupy the space before too long. But they'll figure the 20 protocol devs, the people who actually work on this, they'll just figure it out without us even using it or giving them feedback or anything. They'll figure it out. It's kind of the I think been some of the approach in Lightning. That's but no, you need. I mean, the way a product gets better is it just runs into feedback point after feedback point after feedback point after feedback point, and like the developers, the founders, whoever the builders, they have to figure out their way through that feedback to make the feedback positive again. And that's really happening with Lightning because everyone has given up. So I'm really excited about that actually.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too.
Because I do think
yeah. It's like once in a millennia technology.
Anyway,
you know what I mean? Like it's once in a millennia technology. It's supposed to be hard. You think it was easy, like to build the Gutenberg press and then get out books to everybody and get people to read and get people to write and then get universities to adopt a book stand? Like you think all that was like easy and just like overnight people just minted books? No, like it required you to actually put the work in and understand why there needs to be a table of contents and understand why certain that's why I'm saying all that shit needs to be built, and this is just where we're at in Bitcoin, and you can't just can't fiat your way out of it, basically.
No, you can't. G was actually telling me the other day about them exploring wallets and stuff, and
yeah,
I know they were already using Lightning well before that because we talk about it. They talk about it for the last few years, but using like a a Lightning wallet that could interact with an application in a way that they could use regularly was maybe a little bit new, because most Lightning wallets can't support that flow because they're not available offline. But I think it's something we sorely need, and I'm hoping we get more developers into the space working on this stuff. And I'm happy to take one charge at it, at least.
The pole position is what it's called. The pole position.
Okay. Yeah, I've always thought.
But I mean,
if I had the body for it, I might be a stripper.
It makes sense that you would take the pole position on that. I think Oscar, another legend in Lightning, taking the pole position on trying to make Nostr work with everything on the social side. So like you have to have these people that are the frontiermen to go off and like do hard things, because not everybody wants to do them. Yeah.
I feel like earlier you were reading my mind, Keyan, when you were like, "Oh, I'll just wait for them to build it and it'll be easy to use." That's how I was thinking for a while, also. And then Stacker News not forcing us, but going to a non-custodial, yeah, just got us out of the comfort zone. And it's like, okay, your hand's been held long enough. Let's learn some Lightning.
Yeah, that because it makes you think too, dude. Like maybe technically, I'm not sure how many people are on Stacker News on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, but at least I don't know how many. I mean, you'll know the stats later on, but I'm going to be curious to see after November 5th how many people actually switched over to doing it the hard way, and that's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting chart to watch as it either goes up or goes down. So yeah.
Yeah, if it goes down, either we failed in some way or Lightning has failed in some way. But I agree with you. It'll be a sign that Lightning is maturing. That might be a graph of Lightning's maturity, because we aren't. A lot of Lightning apps or a lot of Lightning wallets are designed maybe for someone with their phone app open. They're paying at a retail store is kind of what I think the fantasy that a lot of Lightning people have in their minds. But our use case is even more obscure, where it's like tiny amounts of money, and lots and lots and lots of them, more than I pay for more things on Stacker News, very little amount for very small amounts than I do probably anywhere. In a week, I probably zap people more than I buy things all year.
Yeah.
And it's a very different situation.
Yeah, it's true. It's the same problems that Nostr is having, right? They're gonna have to figure that out too. So cool. I think that's all. But let's jump into the top stackers of the week. Keyan, who do we got? People hiding?
Yeah, probably lots of people hiding. I can't see your screen, so I'll pull it up myself.
And
Yeah.
0x Bitcoiner, Gray Ruby, EK. Yeah.
Yeah, usual suspects mostly.
Jump into the most boring. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The most popular segment in Bitcoin, the cowboy segment. Yeehaw, 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 dude. What's up with? So people got guns now. People got horses. Has anybody shooting each other yet?
Yes, I think so. I think that's what the gun indicates, is that
they're shooting people.
They're a sharpshooter. Yeah, they're shooting people. You don't get a gun without shooting people. My head is too big for this. I need to get a custom one made.
Yeah.
For a large head.
Yeah. What's up, dude? Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so you still only have a cowboy and a gun. When are you gonna get a horse?
Horses are hard to get. I know how to. I coded it. I know how to get them. I still can't get them. I rarely get them. They're very hard to get. All these new badges are much harder to get than the cowboy hat was, and the cowboy hat is like easy by comparison. And
Blockchain Boog, look, he only has a cowboy hat. Blockchain Boog, what's going on? Do you have a cowboy hat, G?
It comes and goes from time to time, but it's pretty nice. It's a good feeling whenever you see the pop-up and you find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Cool. I think I'm gonna read the fountain boost real quick, but look, we had a question last week about the you remember the whole stablecoin one? So the question was from Coach Carbon. He said, "Who keeps a stablecoin stable?" Can you answer that?
Oh, it's the issuer of the stable coin. So if you're like something like Tether, I think what they do is when they issue a new, I don't know what they call it, like Tether coin or whatever, USDT, they buy an equivalent in, assets like fiat priced assets like US Treasury bills. I think make up a large share of them. Other types of financial products that have a fiat value, and what they try to do is maintain an equivalent amount of fiat valued assets relative to the supply of Tether out there, and so that's what keeps the price stable. As far as I understand, I mean, I'm not an expert on these things. Super would know way more about this kind of stuff than I do. But this is what underlies a lot of the skepticism of Tether. Where I think during a period of time a few years ago, I think specifically around 2017, maybe earlier, that there was speculation that they actually weren't backed by as many assets as they had circulating coins. But that's fundamentally what they do, at least in the case of Tether and Circle, is they have an equivalent amount of assets that they hold.
There you go. And then Vake said, "If you stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine."
Where is Vake's lane though? We don't even know
I don't know.
where they are.
He was like, "Yo, stay in your lane." I was like, "Whoa!" It's like, damn, it's a lot of people.
I also wanted to
A lot of people
mention it's not a comment. Well, you're a swerver, Car. You swerve. Okay, let's be real.
I mean, my name's Car.
You got the swerve. We got some incense in the mail. I was told by an incense expert that this type of incense needs to be burned in a bowl with a hot coal. So because it's like chunky.
Oh wow, they sent that to the
It's
lab.
like,
It looks like drugs.
yeah, they sent. It was directed at. It says Coob and Car.
Whoa. So it's definitely drugs.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, no, so what it is. It's Peruvian black coral, which I hadn't heard of. I think it might be.
Is that a city?
It's a little bit piney.
Okay.
Well,
Peru?
It's not really piney, is it?
Peru? That's Peru?
Yeah. Peruvian.
Yeah. Peruvian black coral. And then the other one is frankincense and sacred myrrh with royal hojari, which I hadn't seen before. And it's from Maji Market. I don't know if the person works at Maji Market or they just.
A lot of stackers, man. Thank you for keep bringing the gifts. Keep sending them. Give them the address, Keyan.
All right. Our address is changing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it'll be changing, but you could still send it to the same address. We'll publish the new address later. But yeah. Sending us fan mail or Peruvian Stardust. Go for it.
Peruvian Stardust. I don't know. I don't think you want to burn that, Car. Peruvian Stardust.
We had some comments. Justin Rocket says, "Wish I could have attended. I see you guys are crushing it as usual. Bitcoin is freedom." We had John Hoddle. He said, "How does one get a hat, Coob?" ? I think he wants a Stacker.
Which hat are you talking about?
I think he wants a Stacker News hat.
Are you talking about this? Are you talking about a cowboy hat? These are rare.
Or Stacker News hat.
If you come to Austin, visit PlebLab. We'll get you a hat.
There you go. You heard it here
free of charge.
Hoddle. Ezekiel said, "You need to make Coob laugh, then he'll give you a hat." 117 said, "Last pay wins going on right now." Oh, I guess they're gambling on the chat. And 117 also said, "Watch Hereditary." Oh yeah, dude, that one's a scary freaking movie. Do you see that?
I think so.
She's like hanging up on the super creepy.
Yeah. It's what.
Yeah. Have you seen that Hereditary?
Is that with the?
That's the one I think I was talking about, where the kid gets decapitated.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one you're talking about. Yeah. And then Pramla Barbosa says, "I bought a hat. I think I want a black hat though." That's what he said.
Oh, I got them. I got black hats.
There you go. Cool. Keyan, what do you do this weekend?
I'm moving. I guess we're
Yeah.
moving our offices as we said. So we're
Yeah.
currently at 800 Brazos, Suite 260. If anyone wants to send us a bomb or like anthrax or anything,
Don't do that.
um,
What the hell?
well, I mean, come on, we'll get Topher to disarm it. And
No.
anyway, no,
Send us
don't send us a bomb.
Send us like Omaha steaks or something, or some liquor, or some
Omaha
wine.
steaks. What? Are they our grandmother? Who are they?
Yeah, it's a nice gesture.
All right, fine. Yeah, so we're moving to a new location. PlebLab is moving to a new location, so I got to pack up my office, which I haven't even started yet. I'll probably spend my evening doing that.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what I'm doing is moving, traveling a bit. How about you? What do you guys? I mean, I know you guys are probably partying, right? Having a great time.
I think right now we're gonna go get dinner, and then after that we're gonna do a Halloween party tomorrow, right? G's gonna be tell them about the Halloween party.
Yeah. Tomorrow out here they have Halloween, so gonna be working that event. Have Texas in there, so I gotta go get some costumes.
Yeah, we're gonna go get costumes right now for the party.
What are you gonna be? Do you guys know yet? Do you have an idea?
I want to be Charizard, and then have another guy who kind of looks like Asher. He doesn't need to do anything. He just needs to stand by me, and he'll look like Asher.
Oh, not the person named Asher, but
no. Oh, I'm sorry, Ash from Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we have another guy who could be Giovanni for the
Team Rocket.
for the Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, G? What are you gonna be?
I don't know yet, man. I'm just gonna go see if something speaks to me. You know, those are the best ones, I think.
Yeah. I'll take a picture and send it to.
What were you last year?
What was I last year? I don't even remember. It's a good question. I don't even think I did anything last year. I think I was boring. I think I was an adult. Just chilled.
That happens.
Yeah, last year I was Negan. But what are you gonna be, Keyan? Are you dressing up?
You're always Negan. That was my complaint last year. Last year I was a pilgrim.
What are you gonna be this year?
Kind of funny. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get to a party. Is there gonna be a party? Are we gonna do a party?
We'll do a party next week, right? There'll be a party next week, I'm sure.
All right. Well, you'll see, I guess, when I show up. I don't know. I usually don't know. I just pick the most ridiculous thing or silliest thing. I think, if I think it has a meaning that I can explain to people while I'm drunk and their eyes might widen, that excites me.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, yeah, stackers, go out this weekend, watch another crazy cowboy movie. What's another crazy cowboy movie?
We talked about the one last week with the pregnant women, right?
Yeah.
Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
God, there's a lot of them.
What's a good one though?
But I don't know.
True Grit. Go out and watch True Grit. That's a good one. That was filmed in North Austin, I think. I want to say Granger. That whole banking scene. I've been in that bank. It's pretty old. There you go. Stacker.
Excellent.
Keyan.
Zap.